Last week we looked at the very cool Fujinon MKX 18-55, so it's only right that this week we look at its twin brother, is that the right phrase? The Fujinon 50-135mm T2.9, so let's crack on. The lens offers a full frame equivalent of 76 to 206mm. Of course, it's designed for Super 35 or APS-C in our case. We're getting an angular view of 31.7 to 12 degrees, t-stop of 2.9 to 22, and you'll note there's a C mode there too. We've got a minimum focus distance of 1.2 meters with a wide macro function via this switch here that gives you 0.85. There are 22 elements in 17 groups and 9 iris blades. So as you can see, 3 lens control rings: focus, iris, and zoom. Naturally, everything's internal. We've got a nice 200-degree focus rotation. Now, for the cine shooters out there, gear mod of 0.8 and a pitch of 32, and I have already had a bit of a play with this thing, and that is definitely something I would be taking advantage of going forward if I were to ever shoot with these lenses full time. We've got a front diameter of 85mm, filter thread of 82mm, and if we just flip back around here to comment on the zoom, which is a ratio of 3. When we flip across to the rear, you'll notice it's got electronic communication. Now, although the lens is all manual, it does transfer the information to your camera, making life a lot easier. Remember, these things are designed for cine shooters where things need to be good to go, professional, and to make your workflow a lot easier. So the electronic communication is a massive pro for this lens. Now, my first impressions of it when I got my hands on it initially a while back was it's a lot smaller than I imagined for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe I had this idea that cine lenses were all wildly fat or huge. Of course, they've got a lot of glass in them. And this is a mixture of plastic and metal, and it weighs around 1.1 kilos. But, you know, it doesn't feel too bad. And for the most part, at least for me, I'd be taking advantage of the foot. Now, you can see you've got a 1/4 to a 20 thread in there too. I've been putting my Arca Swiss plates on there. It looks like it would be Arca Swiss compatible, but it's definitely not. Don't make a mistake of trying to fit it on your Arca Swiss. It's not ready for it. But I think most people that are buying a lens like this are a lot more careful about what they do, because then they've got to go out and shoot movies, documentaries, TV series, etc., and be professional, and that's what this is all about. So for $4 grand, I mean, look at that. Everything lines up nicely. In fact, we haven't mentioned yet, you get this lens hood too, which is a nice little box. So if we line it up there, let's get it right. A bit awkward doing it this way. Tighten it. Just check I've got it on right. Yep. And then we just pop that off. Oh, I left the lens. Let's pretend I didn't leave the lens cap on, because once that's on, the lens cap's not coming off. But actually, just for the crack, let's take it out. See if I can do this again. Line it up with the white dot on the side, tighten it up, and we're away. So you can see it's a nice piece of rubber there. Bear in mind, the lens is not weather resistant, so if you're going to be shooting any adverse situations, you're going to need to use some form of cover. But maybe that's one of the minuses to something like this. That, and probably the minimum focus distancing, as we found with the 18-55, which of course is the perfect match for this. Lens hood's not on properly, is it? There we go. Perfect match for this. Everything is easy to swap in and out because it's almost identical. You got all your electronic information going across. But anyway, we're almost summing up my thoughts on this lens already. It is kind of exciting. Let's crack on. The lens feels superb in use and is surprisingly lightweight, but it's well set up to use follow rings and the like, to use as a base for a great cinema rig. I didn't mention it last week, I saved it for today, but you only need one matte box and one filter size with this and the 18-55, and the gears for the 3 rings are positioned in the same place, so switching between lenses is a quick process. Even with no follow focus, the manual focusing ring is very clean, an easy experience. Now, as I said before, I'd definitely get an A/B follow focus setup and probably have a lot more fun with it. But then, of course, I'd need a rail. I might as well pop a monitor on the top and a cage and all these bits and pieces. You know, it's addictive, but the lens itself doesn't disappoint when it comes to focus. That's what I'm trying to say. You know, focus and optical axis shift are well controlled, and lens breathing, as you'd expect, is spot on. Now, the macro mode, we spoke about it on the other lens last week. It's very handy, but what I didn't mention is that it doesn't affect image quality. So there you go. As you can imagine, the optical quality is first rate, and along with the MKX 18-55, it's the best I've seen on an X-mount zoom lens. You know, it's hard to find fault with the image quality with this lens and its brother, the 18-55. Even shooting the very random, unedited clips, you can see that it shines and it's ready for serious work. The out of focus areas, for example, are so smooth. Shooting wide open is a real treat, and then moving through the range is very pleasing when you need to stop down a little bit. I really can't find flaws with distortion, chromatic aberration, any of that tasty stuff that, you know, you need to get right at this level. So is it worth £3,499? Well, yes. Granted, I'm not a pro video shooter that needs something like this, but like you, I appreciate great optics. And also, you know, I'd say that I know the X-mount system pretty well. So yeah, I'd love to own this lens and the 18-55 100%, but of course at the moment I personally couldn't justify the purchase, especially in my line of work. But if you're getting into cinema shooting and want to squeeze the absolute maximum quality out of your X series cameras and you can afford the MKX lenses, then definitely go for it. What do you reckon? Have you tried this lens or the 18-55? Let us know in the comments below. Take it easy and I'll see you very soon.